Hello guys, and welcome to a brand new video. Today I'm going to share with you something very special, something that I've only had for a week, but I am happy to show you now. I've been having a little bit of a tinker with it and making sure everything is all good before I showed it off to you guys. So yeah, make sure you like, comment and subscribe, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Right, so do forgive me guys if the camera goes a little bit weird. I'm still getting used to my Osmo gimbal and trying to get used to the smart tracking feature. So here it is. It's a 2001 Honda X8 RX. So I bought it just a little over a week ago now. £740 it costs, but worth every single little penny. Absolutely beautiful, as the smart tracker's kind of lost itself, so I'll just go ahead and do it manually. Oh, there we go. So yeah, so as I mentioned, 2001 Honda X8 RX, beautiful head. Even though it says X8 RX on the front and on the back, when you look it up for like parts, sometimes it comes up as a SZX 50X. So it can be a little bit off-putting, but it is, for all intents and purposes, an X8 RX. So as you can see, we've already slapped on the Joystick Journeys sticker on the side, so obviously be sure to give a follow. If you're not, we also have it on the helmet as well, on the side. Obviously friends of the channel that have already seen this have already, you know, they've seen all the little bits I've done to it in regards to stickers and stuff. Yes, I have put a Ferrari badge on it. I'll come back to, actually, instead of coming back to that, I'll tell the story behind that actually. So obviously friends of the channel know this, but obviously those who follow the channel who I'm not close with won't know, but I used to have a pair of Thrustmaster gaming headphones, and they were the Ferrari Pitwall replica version, and unfortunately about 3, maybe 4 months ago, my headphones died. So instead of chucking them all away, I decided to take off the Ferrari emblems because I wanted to repurpose them. So one of them I always said was going to go on my moped, so that's exactly what I've done here. Just a little bit of super glue. You can kind of see a little bit of residue where a bit of super glue sort of ran, but doesn't matter, it's fine. Oh, gimbal's having a bit of a meltdown. Sorry about that. Gimbal had a mind of its own. And then as you can see on the helmet, just up here, we have the other one. I'm not going to move the helmet because the helmet's kind of stored in there nicely. So yeah, £740 that I paid off of Facebook Marketplace. Wasn't exactly where I wanted to look for a bike, but as you can see, obviously I support the Orient, so of course I had to have the Orient sticker on the front. But yeah, off Facebook Marketplace for $740, as I said, wasn't ideally a first choice. There was another bike I did look at, which was a little bit more, was in better condition than this was, but this kind of stole my heart because of the fact that this particular bike, this 2001 version, there is only 5 of these in the UK, as I've been told. Obviously, there may be someone out there that will correct me using their keyboard. But yeah, from what I was told, there's only 5 of these in the UK, and there's only 3 of them actually registered on the road, like legally registered on to be deemed safe on the road. So obviously MOT and all that kind of stuff. And this is one of the 3 out of the 5. So it's one out of the 3 that is road legal, or is roadworthy, I should say. but it's only 1 of 5 in the UK, because there's not a lot of these left, surprisingly. But yeah, as I said, it's only a 50cc 2-stroke air-cooled engine, producing 3 horsepower. So yes, that is not a lot, but it's enough for getting me to work, and there, you know, to get work home, and if I need to nip down to the shops and stuff like that. But here's the problem: it is not powerful enough to do what I originally intended to do when I got a moped, which is to be able to go out, visit different towns and cities, and do the hotel reviews I want to do. Because ideally, having my own mode of transport, in this case moped scooter, is what I needed to be able to do that. Now, actually I'll stop there. So yeah, so now the situation behind that was as follows, and I'll explain a little bit about it. So originally the idea was my father-in-law was going to be handing me over a 2012 Yamaha Cygnus X. So 125, I believe they are a 4-stroke. Obviously air-cooled engine, most mopeds are air-cooled engines. And I was going to have that. I was like, right, okay, fantastic. So passed the CVT in March, and then the plan was to have that around April time, and then I'd have been able to do what I promised you guys, which is obviously the hotel reviews, the town and city reviews, and all that kind of stuff, which is what I want the channel to be. However, we got to April, father-in-law gets in touch, bike's a little bit delayed, you're going to have to wait probably another month or so. So I was like, okay, that's fine, because I knew that Yamaha had a few little niggles. The engine was seized up and the front brakes needed to be done and all that. So I was like, okay, benefit of the doubt, that's fine, especially because he works as well. So he has to fit it in around his work schedule. No problem. But then we got into, well, May then came and gone. Then, obviously, June. Then July. Then we got into the beginning of August, and there was no word. It was all complete radio silence, you know, nothing to say. Yes, you're getting the bike, you know, within a day, couple of days, blah, blah, blah. So, got in touch, and, well, not me, but I managed to get I got my wife to get in touch with my father-in-law to find out the progress on the Yamaha. We then find out that I was due to have the Yamaha the week I got the Honda. So the week I picked, well, I say picked up, but the week I bought the 2001 Honda X8RX, that I was told, oh, you will have the mopeds, you will get the Yamaha. Okay, brilliant. But that wasn't all the good news, because the bad news crept in immediately after he said that, which was that unfortunately my mother-in-law, who drives a 2019 version of the Yamaha Cygnus X125, her one suffered a front suspension issue. So whilst she was having her moped fixed, me getting the 2012 one, the 2012 Yamaha, was put on the back burner because mother-in-law needed to use it as a spare so she can get herself to and from work. So it's like, okay, how much longer am I going to wait? Is it going to be a week? Is it going to be a couple of weeks? Is it another month or so? Didn't get a straight answer. All I got told was, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how much longer it's going to be. So at this point, desperation set in, and frustration as well, because I'd been waiting so long, and I was like, you know what, forget it, I will just go and buy my own. So I looked on Auto Trader, looked on eBay, all the bikes I wanted, slightly out of my price range for a 125. Most 125s I was looking at were you was looking around 1300, sort of around that mark, so anything between 1300 upwards, and I didn't have that kind of money at the time. So I was like, right, okay, set myself kind of a mini challenge. Can I get a 125 for under £1,000 effectively? So was looking around, and then got to the point, obviously desperation really kicked in, full pelt. And I was like, right, do you know what, I don't care if it's a 50cc or a 125, I just want a ped. I was at that point where I just want something to at least get me out and about. So yeah, it came down to two options in the end. It was a 2020 Motorini Misano 50cc, which was put up for £800, or it was the one I have, which was put up for £750. And after the owner told me the story behind the ped and everything like that, I was sold on the Honda. Sold. Originally agreed a price of £700, so got a decent bargain. However, the seller was very kind. He obviously at the time I didn't have, because I wasn't obviously taxed or insured on a ped, he agreed to deliver it to my house, and not only that, he also topped up the oil and the fuel for me. So I decided to give him an extra 40 quid because I was like, you've been an absolute legend. You've delivered the bike delivered the bike to my house for me, and you've topped up with oil and petrol. So, I didn't want the guy to feel a little bit out of pocket. So that's exactly what I did. So did that, and yeah, so I've been riding it since Saturday. Very comfortable ride for a 50cc. I was expecting it to be quite, how can I put it? Quite stiff, because it's not, like a typical moped. Well, I'll say it's not like a typical moped. It's kind of sporty. You've seen the pictures. Well, I'll say pictures. You've seen the video. But it's very, it's a sporty look. So it was one of those that, sporty looks. So I was thinking, suspension would be quite stiff on it. No, suspension's nice and soft, very comfortable to ride. I do excuse the kids screaming in the background where I'm filming. We're not too far from the local theme park. But yeah, so all of that. Comfortable ride, and yeah, it's fun. It's fun to sort of nip around on the residential streets on and stuff, and to get down to the shops. Now, the most important thing, I say the most important thing, but the sort of drawbacks of the bike. So the drawbacks. So I mentioned everything. It works fine mechanically. As we tracker things decided to give up, and now it's having a mind of its own. Again, I do apologise. Still getting used to the gimbal, and it's a little bit on the temperamental side. It has just had a firmware update as well. So the drawbacks. So one thing is that it is, well, mechanically it's fine. Lights work, indicators work, brakes work both front and rear, lights will work, and all that. Kickstarter works, electric starter works. The only drawback I have on this bike, when the camera decides to do what I want it to do instead of doing what it wants to do, is down here on the speedo. So the main speedometer doesn't work, so I can't tell how fast I'm going, and also the mileage clock is also not working. Now, I did purchase a speedometer cable because I had a friend look at it and he said it could potentially be your speedo cable that's not working. So I was like, okay, fair enough. Picked one up pretty cheaply. We went to try and install it. Turns out it's a little too short, which was annoying because it was the longest cable I could find. Now, when we took the front apart to get access to the cable, my mate actually inspected the cable. Not we, but obviously my mate inspected the cable. Turns out the cable is absolutely fine. It rotates without any issues. It's fine. The top and the bottom ends, no problem at all. What we did suggest could be wrong, and we've still got to sort it out. And hopefully, if anyone wants to see like a repair video at some point, do leave a comment down below, and I'll look at sort of doing that. Do like a update repair video. But we believe it could potentially be something to do with this. So this is like the Speedo drive hub, because this here is the Speedo cable. that comes down and connects into here. Now, when you turn it with your hand on the other side, you can literally move it around freely. Apparently, it's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to have a bit of resistance because it's only meant to turn with the cable attached to it. So we suspect it's broken. Obviously, if there are any mechanics or any maintenance heads watching the video, that may know and say like, yep, your mate is right, it is something to do with that. Obviously, do let me know. But yeah, so we've got the part, not on order, but we've got it shortlisted because I can't do anything now till September. So we believe it's going to be that. So that's what we're going to take off and obviously replace, and then hope to pray that the Speedo actually works, because it is a nice little project. Tyres, very decent nick, you know, still got good amount of tread on them. So we're not really changing the tyres as yet. They will be changed before its next MOT, which will be in February. So that's when we'll be sorting that out. So as you can see, like, still a good amount of tread on there. We have noticed there is some cracking in and amongst some of the areas, like sort of in little bits here, but it will do for now until we can obviously get that sorted out. We have a Technic gas exhaust. As you can see, not in the best shape. However, I am looking at getting that replaced at some stage. Maybe in the next month, maybe next couple of months or so, but that will definitely be done. Obviously, it's not stock exhaust, it is a performance exhaust. Some people are saying to me, are you going to keep it, like, are you going to return it all back to stock, or are you going to, you know, leave it as is? And I'm thinking, like, do you know what, I may leave it as it is. So I'm going to get it a brand new performance exhaust, which will go in there. Obviously, we've got the cable here for the spark plug. Obviously, spark plug sits on top. Obviously, it's only a single cylinder, so it's only a one spark plug. And then here you can see the fan for the air cooling. The only other thing as well is it only has one stand, so it does become a little bit annoying when it comes to parking up, because every time I have to park up, rather than being able to just lean it on the side stand, I've got to actually pull it up onto the main stand every single time, which is annoying, especially if you are just quickly nipping into a shop for a quick drink or something like that. It is annoying that you can't just kick it on the side stand. So I am looking into getting a side stand for it, but as I said, for now it's fine. And yeah, and then sort of down here, obviously we've got our kickstart here, and then here is our air filter, which we are going to look at replacing at some point as well. Chances are, when we order the part for the Speedo up at the front, or for the Speedo drive up the front, we will probably very highly look at doing the air filter as well, so we can obviously get the air filter changed and stuff like that. I am going to book it in probably in the next month or so, a couple of months. Again, it sort of depends money wise, but I am going to get it in for a full service, so that'll be fresh oil change, potentially like new spark plug. Even if I do order the air filter myself, I may just say to them, look, I've got like a new air filter, I've got this and this, like, can you install it for me? Because I'm not a maintenance head, I know nothing about car or bike maintenance, so I may just leave it to the experts. Obviously we've got our rear shock absorber and spring, which is still relatively decent, so we're not going to look at changing that at any point. And then obviously we've got our front forks, turn it around, and then we've got front forks up in there. But overall, it's a nice bike for a 24-year-old bike. You know, it does the job. It does the job for while I need it for the time being. So as I said, it is a temporary bike until I can get a hold of a 125. But yeah, the only other trouble was when I bought this, about 3, maybe 4 days after purchasing this, I went back on Facebook Marketplace to look at 125s, and then I was finding 125s for about 600 quid. which kind of kicked me a bit because I was like, well, I've already bought one. I've already bought a bike now, so that was slightly annoying. But how can I put it? I've sort of bought this on the hope, fingers crossed and everything, on the hope that I've got this, and then the father-in-law will turn around and say, right, you can now have the Yamaha 125. I get that Yamaha 125, and then I can either keep this just as a little passion project just to get it all done up and then sell it on, or I may keep hold of it and then take it over to like car shows, especially if a car show has a little bike section. I can then take it to there and have that on display there. Obviously I won't be able to travel far if the show's a little bit too far out. I'll have to probably stick it on a trailer and have a mate drive it down, or have a mate drive the car with the trailer on the back. But that's the sort of potential idea. Oh yeah, and the other thing as well is obviously there's a slight tear in the seat here. Obviously it's nothing major, it's just where the covers obviously got a little bit worn. I am aware there is bird dirt on it. That happened last night. But yeah, I've just done the typical stick a bit of duct tape over it for now, because I've heard that, well, I did inquire about how much it would cost to potentially get a recover on the seats, and I've been quoted anywhere between sort of 120 up to around 150, depending on how much needs to be done. But my thinking is that if I do get this done, rather than just get the repair on that, I may do the whole thing and just get the whole cover completely restored. I know it won't be back to original, so well, unless they can find like an original Honda vinyl cover, perfect. If not, then we'll probably go for something a little bit custom, you know, something to match the bike. So probably something with like black with yellow stitching or something like that, just to sort of camouflage it into the bike. And another thing, I'm going to get a top box as well, so I've got more storage, because although there's decent storage under here, by the time I've put a cover in there, I've got my locks and stuff in there, there's literally no room for anything else. My coat only just about fits in there, but I am going to get a top box just so I've got a little bit of extra storage for when I need it. So yeah, so that is literally all I wanted to show you. I know it's probably going to be a long video for what it needs to be. Again, I am still obviously getting used to doing the videos. I say getting used to doing the videos, trying to get used to doing videos out in public. I'm still sort of building that confidence up. Obviously still getting used to the gimbal, so as you can tell, there's been a few sort of niggles and problems with it. That's mainly just purely because I just haven't got used to it yet. I believe this is only like the second, maybe third time I've used it since owning it. But like I said, it was mainly bought just to use as a tripod stuff for the hotel reviews. But yeah, if any of you guys do want to see onboard POVs or anything like that, may not do that strictly for, well, I may not do that for like the YouTube videos, but I do have a TikTok, I do have an Instagram, so if you do want to see that, obviously head over to Instagram and TikTok. I'll leave what my name is on there in the description, so you guys can come check it out. And yeah, I'll probably do some point of views. Obviously that was kind of the main thing with having the 125, was obviously I can do longer journeys, so the point of views will be a bit better and stuff. So it is a bit of a nightmare, however, is what it is. But in the meantime, we've got what tools we've got. We just have to make do with it. So yeah, if you do want to see Instagram lives, TikTok lives, well, I won't be able to do TikTok lives just yet, I don't think, but if you want to see obviously like Instagram lives and stuff whenever I'm out riding, then obviously do let me know in the comments if you'd like to see that. But anyway guys, that's going to wrap it up for today. Again, apologies for the camera quality and how it's been presented. I know it's not my finest, you know, I know it's not my finest thing, but hopefully, you know, as the days and months go on and I get more time to be able to film and get out and do things and get more used to actually using the gimbal and all that kind of stuff, hopefully things will pick up. But anyway guys, thank you very much, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye for now.